Hello, thank you for joining me today. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a Very Hungry Caterpillar themed kids invitation. So it's this one here, and it folds out like a book, and then it's also got the caterpillar design on the back. I designed this for my son's first birthday, and it was quite easy. And it just turned out so cute. Hello, it's Caitlin from the future. I wanted to just come on here and say that I've decided to turn this into a listing on my Etsy shop. So if you would like to have this for your kid's birthday and you're not really wanting to make it, jump onto my Etsy. It's going to be a template that you can edit on Canva, and you can print it off at home. If you would like to buy it, it is on my Etsy. The details will be in the description below. Okay, bye. If you're looking to do something like this for your kid's birthday, follow along. Things that you need in order to create this invitation is the app Procreate, an Apple Pencil or Apple Pen. You also need 300 GSM paper to print on. I prefer using kind of art paper in paper pads. I feel like it's a little bit cheaper sometimes, and you can print on both sides and they both come out the same. Whereas if you have photography paper, you can only print on one side. So I feel like it's better to use something like that. If you get like watercolor paper, that also looks really nice. And I also have the Canon Pixma Pro 200 series. Just any good printer that prints colors really well is a good option. Now, the software that I used to design the caterpillar and the whole invitation is called Procreate. It's an app that you can get on the Apple Store. You download it onto your iPad, and it's kind of like Photoshop for artists. If you have your Apple Pencil, it's really easy to design things. I absolutely love this app. And it only costs you a one-time fee of $15 Australian, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's just super handy, and I created the whole invitation on here. Please also keep in mind, every printer performs differently. So if you print something out and it's not looking great, or it's in the wrong orientation or anything like that, I'm gonna say your printer is the problem. And it might just be some settings that you need to go in and fix. It might take you a few prints to get the right settings. But yeah, printers are the absolute bane of my existence, so I'm really no help when it comes to printers, but I'd feel like that would be probably your main issue if you were having issues, is your printer. Now, the first design I made looks a little bit different from the one that I'm going to show you now, the little walkthrough that I'm going to do with you. The only difference is really I've just done smaller segments for the body, whereas in this tutorial I do big ones. So if you really want to copy this one, just do some smaller segments in the body and it'll look more like this one. But the one that I make as well with you is still really cute. I'm gonna stop talking now and we'll get into the tutorial. So we want to make an A4 canvas. So you just go to this icon up the top here, which is the add icon. I have a preset for an A4 size paper, but if you don't have that, you just press this little icon up here, and then that goes into your dimensions. So A4 is 210 millimeters by 297 millimeters, or it is 8.3 by 11.7. So we'll do that, and we'll go in the color profile here. We want to go CMYK because we're going to print, and that's all we want. So create. So now we're going to design the caterpillar. One thing that I recommend doing, which is going to make everything a lot easier, is going into this little spanner, this icon here at the top, and then we want to go into drawing guide, turn that on, and then you go into Edit Drawing Guide, and then we want to go all the way over here to Symmetry, and that'll put a line right down the middle of our page, which is exactly what we want. So that way, when I go Done, it's going to draw symmetrically on the other side of the page, which is perfect. So now we want to start with a sketch. So we want to work in layers. So this layer will be our sketch, and we're just getting the outline of what we want the caterpillar to look like. So I had the head here, and then I had the body kind of going like that, kind of, and so in the initial invitation that I made, I had these little columns here, or these separate little bits to the caterpillar. So ideally you want to work on these all in separate layers. It just makes it easier at the end to like edit the shapes, edit the colors, and add texture like we're going to do. So yeah, you want to draw these little things. So this is the head, and I'm going to put some like antenna like that, and he's also going to have some little feet. Kind of like that. I also want to let you know of the color palette that I'm using. So we're using 3 different shades of green for the body. I'm using a red for the head, this dark green, and a yellow for the eyes. The purple is for the antenna. The brown is for the feet. Then we've got black, which I'll use for the mouth, and this very light shade of yellow, which is going to be the silhouette behind the caterpillar, but we'll get to that later. Now that we've got our sketch, we need to start adding some color. So we want to work in layers, so we need to go into the layers menu, and we want to add a layer here. And we can see how layer 1 says assisted, so that means the symmetry is on. It's, you know, on in the first layer, but it isn't here. So first you just want to make sure that it is still turned on in your menu, which it is. So the only other thing you would need to do is go into your layer, and then we want to make sure drawing assist is checked, which it is now. So now it says assisted, so it should do symmetrical stuff. So I'm going to start off with my darkest body color, which is that green there. And I'm going to draw just some parts of the body that I want to be the darkest. Usually do like 3 or 4. So I'm going to do this one. And I'm going to do that one there. You want to keep it kind of random. And ideally you don't want to do 2 next to each other, although if you have to, it doesn't matter. But it's just when we go in at the end and start adding texture, it's just easier if the color blocks are separated. So I think we're going to have to go in here and do one. Oh no, we can do one here at the end. And actually I might move this one, and I'll put it here. Now let's do the second layer. So we want to go up here, add another layer. It's not saying assisted, so let's go and select drawing assist. Perfect. And let's select the middle. Oh no, that's not it. The middle green color. And let's pick where we want to put it. I might actually make this a little smaller. Alright, I'm going to put it here. So it's better to work from kind of your darkest value to your lightest value. I think when doing this, it just makes it look a bit more realistic, because the shadow parts are going to be, or the darker parts are going to be like up the back, kind of. And then your lighter parts are going to be towards the front. And this way as well, you can go over your darker parts in the other layer, so it gives you cleaner lines to work with. So they're there, and there. Sure, why not? All right, and then our last layer for the body, drawing assist. Want that light color. So we finished the body. We're going to add another layer for the head. So make sure drawing assist is on. Then we want to select a red color and draw an oval for the head. Also, you don't have to be a perfectionist with all these ovals and circles. It kind of adds to the aesthetic, I suppose you could say, that it's kind of like oblong shapes. It is a kid's invitation after all, so you kind of want it to look like it's, you know, fun and happy and all that. Alright, so now that we've drawn the head, we can add another layer. Assisted. We're going to select, we'll do the eyes. So I did, ooh, that's too big. Let's try again. So I did big oval shaped eyes. Like that. Ooh, that looks maybe a little too wonky. Let's see if we can get it looking kind of the same. That's better. Alright, and then we'll add another layer on top of that. Go in with the dark green. So this is going to be like the irises of the eyes. I don't even know if caterpillars have irises, but hey, this one does. Oh, that doesn't look very good. Try again. So if you're wanting to know what I'm pressing over here, it's just the undo button. Yeah. That's better. Okay. And let's maybe go in now with the mouth. New layer. Drawing assist. We want the black. Ooh, that's not black. Where did my black go? That's okay, we can just make a black. So if we go into, I like to go into classic, then I just drag these two values down all the way. That gives you a black, and we just want to make a circle. Perfect. Now we're going to do the antenna. So we want to add a layer, make it assisted, but we want to grab this layer and pull it under our head layer, so that when we're drawing it, if we do happen to go below the head, it's not going to show on top of the head, it's just going to go behind the layer. So let's pick our purple and let's draw. Alright, so now we need to make some feet. So we're going to add another layer, make it assisted. We're going to drag this layer all the way down. So we want it above our sketch layer, but below our body, any of the body layers. For the same reason as the antenna, we want any of the colour to go behind the drawing. So let's draw some feet. Look at that. So if we go and hide our sketch layer, we can see this is kind of the base of our caterpillar, and it already looks so cute. So now that we have our design of the caterpillar all set up, we want to go and make it look like the caterpillar in the book. So the Very Hungry Caterpillar, the book, is made from collage, which is like ripping up bits of painted paper and sticking them together. So we want to add that kind of texture into the individual shapes of the caterpillar. So the way I do that is we go into, let's start with, let's go from the bottom up. Let's start with this layer here. So this is the darkest value of the body. We want to go into the settings and go alpha lock here. So this is going to, I suppose, block everything else but the color or the shapes that you've already colored in. And then that way we can only draw inside the shape, which is exactly what we want. So now that we've done that, I like to get, so I get my, where's my color palette here? So I get my color palette and I like to grab that color. So what's that one? That's the darker one here. So just make sure that that's selected. Then I want to go into the classic and it'll bring up your recent color palette down here. And then I just want to drag this down to get a much darker value. I'll put that over here. And then I want to drag it up to get a lighter value. And I'm just going to swatch those there. Now I'm going to do that for all of these. Go darker, go lighter. Ooh, might take that a little bit lighter actually. So to delete a swatch you need to press and hold, delete. You can add a new one. And then for that one, we want to go darker and lighter. Perfect. So now we really need to do that for all of these colors, but I'm just going to stick with this for now. So we'll go to this one here. We want to go onto our alpha locked layer, and really this is the fun part. So now you can go into your brushes menu and you can go through all the brushes that you have. And you can select ones that you like, some that have like good texture or some nice kind of brush strokes. I really like to go into the painting section. These have some like traditional mediums in here. So there's like old brush, oil paint, gouache watercolor, oriental brush, the Nico roll, I think that's how you say it. But these all have like really nice bits of texture. Old brush, I do like old brush. So let's say if we do that, you can also play with like the size of the brush and the opacity as well. But let's just go like that and see, because the assist is still on, it's going to do, but we just kind of have fun. Now you can just do whatever you want. So maybe we'll do the old brush and then we'll go in with stucco and we'll select that lighter color that we made, and we can just, ooh, see, I didn't like that, that was too big. Let's go like that. But it's really kind of up to your discretion of how you want to do it. And you might not even want to do this. You might just want to leave it with the, you know, the basic colors and leave it at that. Maybe some flicks. Ooh, oh, that's fun. I forgot to do that one. Oh no. Actually, I suppose we can just leave it. Yeah, let's just leave it. Alright, so let's keep going. So let's do it on the next layer above. So we want to go alpha lock, select the colors that we made, and just find some brushes. Textures, what have we got in here? Colorable. Sure, why not? Painting, I might go with the oil paint. very small. Go up. Then select our lighter colour. And see, like, I'm looking back on those flicks that I did. I don't like them, so I'm just going to go over them. And this layer here, let's just go like that. Cool. Alright, we'll go back in here. And you can even leave just some of your colours blank and then just do, like say with this top layer, if we go alpha lock, pick a colour, maybe we just want to do this one, and then just leave the other two plain. Maybe add, yeah. See, and already that's adding a lot more value, and it looks like it's pieces of painted paper that you've cut out with scissors and stuck together, which is exactly what the book looks like, and it's so easy and so fun. Okay, so now I'm going to go in and do that with all of the other layers, probably except for maybe this one and this one, the mouth and the eyes, probably won't bother with, but I'll do everything else. So now my caterpillar is complete. So I ended up actually not doing much with the head. I found that I don't know, I just didn't like the way it looked when it had texture on it. So I did the antenna. Oops. I did the antenna and I did inside the eyes. But yeah, feel free to do whatever you want. But now that that's finished, we need to make the silhouette that goes behind the caterpillar. So this is what we're going to cut out and what we're going to kind of fold. So what we want to do for that is we want to add another layer. It will want to be a drawing assisted layer. We want to grab it and we want to put it all the way down the bottom. So under our feet, but above the sketch layer, of course. You can even delete the sketch layer now if you wanted to, because we just don't need that anymore. So we've got that layer there. Now the color I used for the background, the silhouette, is this very light yellow color. And I used the hard airbrush again, and you make it quite big. So with this, you want to just give the overall shape that you want your invitation to be. You don't want any like hard edges because it just makes it harder to cut, and especially if you're going to use a Cricut machine or something like that, which I'm not doing a tutorial for, but if you're going to use a Cricut machine, ideally you want to make it like as simple as possible, so when you're using that software you can just cut it out. But we're just going to go, let's do it like this. We just want to follow his shape, and ideally you want to leave some room for error. So say when you're cutting, you want to leave a bit extra on the outside so that if, say, the printer doesn't line it up properly or exactly, you can just cut a little bit extra and you'll be okay. So I want to have a bit more over here. So I think what I might do is just make this whole design a bit smaller. So in order to do that, we need to go and select all these layers. So to do that, you simply swipe right. And you want to do that for every layer. So this is selecting all the layers. Then you want to click the move button and just size it down a little bit. Maybe not that much, maybe about that much. And then when you're lining it back up, you want to make sure that it is right in the middle. So when you see that yellow line come up in the middle, that's how it's exactly centered. Perfect. So then we'll just neaten up that edge here. Oops. Like that. And this one here. See, I made this mistake the first time I printed it. I made like a big kind of crevice in here, which ideally you don't want because that makes it very hard to cut out. Oops. So I think like that would be perfect. Now these like choppy little edges, they don't so much matter because when you're going to cut them out, you can just, you know, cut it straight. But if you're a perfectionist like me, you kind of want to go in and do that so it's nicer to look at. Keep forgetting how big my brush is. I think I might want to add some more here. There. Alright, and so now that we have our caterpillar done, we have our silhouette done, I like to now go out of the canvas, go to the gallery. I want to select and duplicate. Now the reason I do this, so I want to go into the duplicate and I'm going to merge all the layers of the caterpillar down. So they're just one layer. Great. So the reason I do that, the reason I don't merge all the layers down in the original file is just because I feel like it's nice to have your original file with all those individual layers. So if you did want to go, say if you found that you've made a mistake or you want to change up a color or anything like that, you can go into the original file and fix it there really easily. But then I do like to make a duplicate copy, merge all the files together because it's just easier to deal with and it's easier to print. So this way we're only looking at 2 layers now, which is just so much nicer. So I actually want to go in to this silhouette layer and just fill out the blank spots. Perfect. So now what we're going to do is we're going to hide the caterpillar layer. We're going to add a new layer, and this is the layer where we're going to add all of the details that we want on our invitation. So like day, time, who's it for, what is it, that kind of thing. Now I can I'm not going to do it on here because I've already done it. So this is my original file here. I had the address up here, the time, the day, and the address up in this top section here. I've hid it, obviously, but it says, our very hungry caterpillar Oliver is turning 1, and then it says, come munch and crunch with us. And to make these fruits was basically the same way I made the caterpillar. So I just made layers for all of them, and then I would go in and alpha lock them, then add texture and all that stuff, and then I just merged them down so that they're now individual files here. So you can copy mine exactly if you like, or you can make your own template, whatever you want to do, but that's the gist of what to do. If you don't know how to use text, let me just show you. Or if you don't know how to add text, I should say. So we're in here. We want to go add text. Then that brings it up there. Then you've got your keyboard down here, so you want to show keyboard. And then you can just type. And then say if you want to change the color or the font. So if you want to do color, select it, and then you go into your color palette up here, and you can select the color. You can then move it around, or you can make it bigger. You can move it around. If you want to change the font or anything to do with the style of lettering or anything like that, you can click on the layer and you can go edit text. Might need to select the whole thing. Mine comes up with a tiny little menu up here. I think, yes, if you click that button there, you get the full menu here. So you can select your font here, and then you can adjust the size in here as well. Kerning, tracking, leading, I don't know what that is, baseline, yeah, and the opacity as well. And you can also select whether you want it to be centered or, you know, over there, in the middle. You can also select if you want it underlined or outlined like that. Yeah, so that's basically how you use type. So you can use that to just add the details that you want in there. Then what else did I put in my other file? I think I put in some little, I put in some little circles, so that's really easy as well. You just go in here and you add a layer, and then you just select the type of brush that you want. I'm pretty sure for those I just used a little studio pen, and I selected the purple color, and they were just kind of little circles. I'll zoom in. And they were just like really roughly kind of shaded in to look like that. Kind of like that. And then I just use those to kind of separate the sections of information. But yeah, that is the gist of how to design the caterpillar invitation. So once you have the kind of information that you want on your invitation, you can just merge all your layers. Well, you can merge all your layers together if you want to. You can also go out into the gallery, duplicate the layer again. Say if you want to just have those layers in a separate file so you can go back and edit them, then it's probably a good idea to duplicate the file again. So you just go select, duplicate, and then you can work on the duplicate. So in here, you can merge all your kind of text and design files together. So go merge, merge. And so in order to print this, you want every single layer to be in the dead center of the canvas. So because we have just made a layer above the silhouette for the design or the information, everything is in the dead center. So that is exactly what we want. So then when we want to go and print, we simply hide the layer that we don't want to print. So for example, I'm going to print the caterpillar design layer first. So you want the caterpillar and the silhouette ticked, and then you want to go into your spanner here. You want to go share. Now I share it to my computer, so I want to share as a JPEG, and because I have a MacBook, I can just airdrop it to my laptop. So I'll do that, and then once that's done, I will go back and I will hide the caterpillar layer. I'll select my information layer, and then I'll do the same thing. So actions, share, JPEG, and then I'll send it to my computer, and then from there we can print. So now you've got your files on your computer. You want to pick one first and just go, I like to open them into preview, and then I like to go print, and so this will bring up your printer's settings. I didn't really need to do anything in here, but like I said at the beginning of the video, if a lot of printing issues can be related back to your printer, so just do a couple of test prints and go through the settings and figure out things for yourself. Yeah, that's all I can kind of give to you on that, but I don't really want to select anything here. I'm just simply going to print. So when your printer is printing, don't mind my printer, it has a lot of errors on that. I don't know if you can see it. It's just saying that all the inks are low and I need to change them, but I'm not going to until they're completely empty. But what you want to do when your printer is printing the file is you want to make sure you remember what way the page comes out. Because if you remember what way the page comes out when you were printing, you want to put it in that exact same way but on the other side, so that it is printing kind of parallel, if you get what I mean, so that you're printing on the exact same way either side of the page. So my page is coming out like that, so ideally I just need to flip it vertically and then it should print the same way the same way on the other side. Watch it not, but let's try that. So I'm flipping vertically and putting it back in. Now we want to print our other side, so let's close out of that. Let's pull up our other file and let's go File, Print. Shouldn't need to change any settings. Let's go print, and hopefully it prints perfect the first time. From what I can remember, it looks good. Yes, it's printed well. It's perfectly on either side of the page, so that's exactly what we want. So now we can go ahead and print. Sorry, not print. We can go ahead and cut and fold, and we're done. So as you could see when I was cutting it, I cut on this side first and it was fine, but then when I turned it over there were tiny little bits where there was still a bit of white paper, so I just make sure to cut on the back of it as well. And that's why we wanted to have that little bit of extra yellow around everything, so if we did need to cut more, it wasn't going to affect the design of anything. But that is all cut out now. That's what your invitation should look like. And now we just need to fold it. I like to try and line it up on the end here, and then that should be down the middle of the invitation. Like that. There you have it. There is your little caterpillar invitation. Thank you so much for sticking around until the end of the video. I hope this was nice and easy for you. Just a reminder, if you want to buy the invitation instead of designing it, hop onto my Etsy. The details are in the description. You can jump onto Canva, edit the template, print it out, Bingo bango, you've got your invitation. All right, bye. I'm going to try and leave everything I use in the description as well. I really hope you enjoyed making this as much as I did. It's a really fun little project and I think your child would love it. And the people you give it to are going to love it too. It's such a cool little keepsake, especially if you use it for like a first birthday like what I did. So thank you so much for sticking around. I will see you in the next one.